Now, I know this might not be the best time to check on this, but I've been neglectful, and I'm hoping we're at full bloom. Hey, okay. We're in the final chapter, and I just realized I've never checked. Let me just look at that real quick. Not the best music for that, but whatever. This is what happens when you forget. No sooner than had we reached the base of the mountain, however, we encountered an enemy patrol. Ah! Several gunshots echoed through the forest. I wasn't sure if they were an actual attack or just a warning.
It looks like we're surrounded.
Ah! The crack of a gunshot sounded again, closer this time, and I jumped.
Calm down. If you make too much noise, they'll find us.
That's what I was wondering. Right. I shrank down as small as I possibly could and held my hands desperately over my mouth.
The sun will set soon. Once it does, their guns will be useless.
I'm sorry. The gunfire had scared me, but if I made too much noise, then I could endanger Saito and the other Shinsengumi. Be brave, Chizuru. We can make it through. We just gotta hold out till nightfall. Eventually, the sun did set, and the forest fell into darkness. The gunshot slowed, then stopped. Suddenly, it was very quiet. Too quiet.
If it's this dark, I'm sure it will be hard for them to aim. And it will also take time for them to load their guns. It's time to move.
Yes, let's go. Quietly, guys. Sheesh. We stepped out of the thicket we'd been hiding in and headed off down the mountain. Come on, we're so close. Ah! We hadn't been walking for long when the gun started again, likely because of our footsteps. This time, however, they seemed to be shooting anywhere and everywhere, not directly at us. Can they even see us? It seems Saito had been right about a loss of precision once night had fallen. They could see shadows moving and hear our footsteps, but between the darkness and the trees, actually finding us was proving difficult. We might actually be able to join up with the rest of the men at this rate.
Yes.
I got a bad feeling.
Who do you plan to join exactly? Twice as many insects are still insects.
It was him. Knew it. Might not need guns in the darkness. I mean, your guns might be useless in the darkness, but a demon definitely is not.
It's been a while, girl of Yukimura. Or rather, my soon-to-be wife.
Persistence.
You still prefer the company of these weaklings.
You! Of all the times we could have encountered Kozma, why now? I didn't realize I'd been frozen to the spot by stepped. I didn't realize I'd been frozen to the spot until Saito stepped between Kozma and myself, maybe? Ah.
Stay back.
As he spoke, Saito drew his sword. But...
I said stay back.
There was steel in his tone this time.
What? You think you'll fight me? Oh, this is wonderful. I came out here because I didn't want such a valuable female demon to die pointlessly in battle. I never expected to be challenged to a fight by some idiotic human.
He chuckled again as he drew his own sword. Hey, don't say I'm a female. There's other men here that don't know about my condition, okay? Oh, he went straight for the whole demon mode. I guess Amagiri must have told him that, yeah, not being a demon ain't gonna cut it with this guy. Kozma's hair turned white. He looked almost godly, like a lion. Yeah, if a lion had horns, sure.
Come to think of it, didn't you try to swing at me before? I was kind enough to let you go then. You're a fool, because now I'm going to finish it.
It wasn't just how he looked, though. His desire to kill was fiercely radiating. Amagiri had said that Kozma was even more powerful than he was, and Saito had been clearly outmatched by Amagiri. Just watching from afar makes me understand that this man knew what he was talking about. Kozma possessed powers far beyond what even someone like Saito could hope to fight against. So why is he going for it? Because he loves you! Saito made the first move. His sword raised high over his head, he charged forward and brought it down toward Kozma's right shoulder. But when the sword reached its destination, Kozma was simply gone. Saito snapped his head around, looking for his opponent.
Behind you.
A silver blade flew through the night toward Saito. Oh no, already?
Ugh!
I heard the horrible wet sound of a blade passing through flesh and blood spattered to the ground. Saito grunted and swung his sword back toward Kozma, but again he cut only air. The demon darted around behind him, his sword glistening with gore. Oh no!
Gah!
More blood dripped to the forest floor. Saito ground his teeth, his eyes wide with pain, but he kept his feet and tried desperately to match Kozma's attack. My poor boy. But his foe was too fast, and as soon as Saito had found him, he had disappeared or struck again. Oh no, my poor boy! No wonder he was so bloody in that picture! The night air was filled with grunts of pain and the sickening hiss of steel through flesh. Where are the other— Oh, my poor boy! He's covered! Stop it!
Gah!
Every inch of his clothes was soaked in blood, but still Saito glared at Kozma with fiery hatred. Oh, finally, guys! You bastard! How dare you! We'll avenge our captain! Take this! Two of the men who'd been watching leapt toward Kozma as Saito fell back.
No! You won't be—
Well, they tried.
Gah.
Kozma's sword shimmered and the two men fell to the ground. He didn't even blink. His skill with the sword was nothing short of superhuman. His blade moved too fast for my eyes to catch.
Oh. 2 against 1, and this was the best they could manage. Humans are such fragile creatures. Ugh. What? Is something wrong? Do you hate me, perhaps?
Saito said nothing and tightened his blood-stained hands around the hilt of his sword.
Grah!
He ran toward Kozma, all of his strength behind this desperate attack.
Ah!
Kozma's blade sliced across his body and blood rained down onto the dirt. No, my poor boy! Don't die. Please tell me I haven't picked wrongly.
Gah!
He still stood, but blood loss and fatigue were taking their toll, and even I could see he was getting slower. Nonetheless, his hand stayed clasped around his sword, even if his arms could no longer lift it. Even against Amagiri, he hadn't been beaten so completely. I know he had just told me to stay back, but— Saito! Please, you have to stop! I'll just go with him! Then he'll leave you and your men alone!
What's this? The female demon is offering to help you. Perhaps you should take her up on that. You can struggle as much as you like, but you know as well as I do that you can't win. I know you're a fool, but you're not that much of one. If you just run away now and keep your mouth shut, then no one will know. All you have to do is tell your superiors that you were guarding the female demon, but you were overpowered and she was taken away.
I looked up at Saito, my eyes pleading. Kozma's words were hardly subtle, but if Saito did leave me behind, I was sure no one would blame him.
Someone would know. I would know. I don't surrender. Not to you. Not to anyone. I will protect her. And my men. With my hands. And with this sword. Protect them. Your body is broken. You can barely stand. This is just... I don't have the words. You can't win. We both know it. I'm giving you a chance to escape with your pitiful life, and you should take it.
But Saito made no move to leave. His eyes burned with fury, even as the rest of him bled and slumped.
If I run now, then I'd be betraying something that's important.
Oh my, such a face.
Oh, this is too rich. You'd betray something important, huh?
He laughed as he drove his sword into Saito's body.
What is this important thing? Some pathetic excuse for pride? Whatever it is that you call honor.
How is he still alive? Saito!
Answer me, human. What could possibly be important to something as worthless and base a creature as you? Gah!
He no longer had even enough strength to lift his arms and block Kozma's attacks. No! Please stop! I couldn't stand to just sit and watch, so I unsheathed my Kodachi. And I charged straight for Kozma. However...
Out of the way.
Ah! Did he kick me again? Yes. Every time he just kicks me like I'm a dog. Kozma saw me in the corner of his eye and kicked me to the floor, and I couldn't even buy Saito time. Just then, I watched as Saito's body slumped and his body dropped to the ground. From here, it seemed like he was still breathing. But at this rate, it's only a matter of time before he could lose enough blood to die. Then, a tiny vial dropped from Saito's pocket, twinkling against his kimono. I guess now's the time. Oh no, that's... It was a bottle of the water of life.
Water of life, huh? Just what do you intend on doing with that?
Saito lifted his bloody face to glare at Kozma. Then...
Obviously, I'm going to do this.
With his last bit of strength, he grabbed the bottle. I'm not going with Kozma. Forget that. You don't need that serum. Even without the water of life, Saito, you're very strong. It's like, I know, boo, but I'm dying here.
I appreciate your trust in my swordsmanship, but in order to best the man in front of me, this is the only way.
Saito popped the lid off of the bottle and he gulped the contents of the bottle. Saito, no! I screamed so desperately it strained my throat. The next instant, the scars all over Saito's whole Saito's body began to regenerate.
Gah.
Oh boy. And then, there stood a Fury, his hair shimmering white. He seemed surprised by the sudden changes on his body, but just seeing his cuts and gashes to heal, he was renewed with a confident energy.
The mere chance of victory against me is to turn yourself into an abomination. It appears you have no pride. Pathetic.
Saito's expression didn't change. Became a Fury after drinking the water of life. Thanks for that. With a slow hand, he wiped the dried blood from his face, and when he spoke, his voice was quiet and calm.
Say what you wish. I don't expect you to understand my sense of honor. If the Shinsengumi have chosen to protect her, then I will carry out that duty, even if the cost of my success is my own humanity.
He lifted his sword to a fighting stance. That sort of attitude was just what I would have expected from Saito, but for him to become a fury simply because the Shinsengumi had ordered him to protect me was horrible. I had turned him into a monster.
So you'll throw your life away for the whims of the Shinsengumi? Wonderful. You can't even think for yourself, can you? You're nothing more than a puppet. Perhaps I am. It doesn't matter. I can think of no better way to give my life than in the service of what I believe in. What you believe in? You mean those simple-minded Ronin so desperate to recapture the glory days, they'll go down with that laughable excuse for a shogun? What?
Uh-oh. I think you made him angry. Saito threw himself toward Kozma in the same breath, his words almost a snarl. The demon deflected his attack with ease and smiled back.
Shall I use small words for you? The shogunate is a rotting corpse, and this war will wash away the maggots like you that insist on clinging to its putrid flesh. The minute you drank the water of life and turned fury, that sword you carry no longer has any meaning. Today's world has no place for that samurai nonsense about pride and honor. Shut up!
He struck again and again, and it seemed that had closed the gap between them, at least somewhat. Bit by bit, Saito's well-aimed blows drove Kozma back. The tension between them was almost palpable, like the air before a thunderstorm. Who got that gash? Ah, man!
Ugh!
From time to time, Kozma landed a blow of his own on Saito, but those wounds closed almost immediately thanks to his new fury blood.
Didn't think you'd ever stoop so low as to become a fake. But it's nice that you can finally fight me with some real power. Makes it all the more enjoyable. No more baby in you, then. Are you ready to die, you worthless...
Just when Kozma shouted that... Oh.
Stop!
A familiar voice echoed through the night.
Amagiri, what are you doing here? Have you come to spoil my fun? The Satsuma domain requires your presence. We must go. Mere humans dare to order me around. If they want me, they may come and get me. Be that as it may, you should return. We can ill afford a dispute with the Satsuma domain now. You know that as well as I. Damn them.
Did you make that up, Amagiri? Did you save your friend? He slammed his sword back into its scabbard.
It looks like I don't have the time to put you down right now. I'll leave my wife in your hands for now. I'm sure you'll be utterly useless either way, but do try and keep her alive. Someday soon I'll be back for her. I hope you're looking forward to it as much as I am.
And with that, he was gone, eloquent as always. Amagiri's face told me he wanted to say something, but instead he turned and disappeared into the forest after his companion, and once again we were plunged into silence. For several long moments, Saito stared after the two demons, saying nothing. Though I could sense a tumult of emotion behind that placid face, he betrayed none of what it might be. Aww. With a shrug, his white hair melted back to its original color, and the red went out of his eyes. Ah, there's those beautiful blues.
We need to be off the mountain by morning, or we'll run into more trouble.
His voice and manner were as they had always been, suggesting nothing of the ordeal he'd just been through. I felt my heart rise to my throat, and I turned away before the sight of him made me burst into tears. Right. Zanon and Heisuke had already given up their humanity to become Furies, and now Saito had joined them. My heart felt like lead. My poor boy. He didn't even get a scratch on poor Kozma.